Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today we've got some extremely cool AMD news for you. So, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, I know that my video's late. I have a real job. I have to go work my real job. And then, if my family needs to do something, then I gotta go do it hang out with the family for a minute. And then I get to come home, and then I get to spend some time on the channel and on this news stuff. So I apologize for me not being able to bring this news to you as soon as I found out about it. Well, we got two new GPUs coming out for the AMD stack. You got the 7700 XT and the 7800 XT. Both are designed with the chiplet design still, so maybe that'll put some of these Nvidia bros to rest, you know, on their doom and gloom nonsense that they've always got, you know, coming up with it. We got the prices for those. 7700 XT is going to be $500 or $449, and then the other one's going to be $499 for the 7800 XT, which I feel are pretty decent prices compared to, you know, what Nvidia's got out, what AMD already has out. The amount of stripped back features that you got with that, went from my 7900 XT has 80 CUs. The 7800 is going to have, what was it, like 60, I believe, and then 54 for the 7700 XT. Well, they also announced FSR 3. Now, this is where things get very incredibly interesting. So, FSR 3 will be their frame generation software that will be working on the AMD platform. Now, this is going to be multi-generation. Like it's backward compatible. It works on previous generation AMD cards. It works on Nvidia graphics cards. It works on Intel graphics cards. And yes, it works on Xbox Series X, S, and PlayStation 5. Now, I don't know if it would go back as far as the GCN technology. It's possible, but I don't think they would use it to upscale any games on PS4 Pro or Xbox Series or Xbox One X or One S. I think that they're just going to be moving forward with this technology. So if you're still sitting there with the older Xbox hoping to be able to maybe use this, I don't think that that's in the cards, obviously. But this is one of those things that I want to kind of... Oh, and we'll be talking about HyperFX as well. So, well, HyperRX. I think it's RX. HyperRX is basically gonna combine, you know, like your Radeon boost, your anti-lag, and your upscaling tech all into like one little toggle that you just boop, hit that, turns it all on. That's gonna be freaking pretty awesome. But what really got me, what really was like, whoa, dude, AMD is interesting, is when they said that they're going to have a driver level feature that's going to provide frame gen for all DX11 and DX12 games. That there kind of blew my mind and was like, are you kidding me, man? Like they're going to make it so you can use this on like any GPU. Oh, actually that is going to be tied to the 7900 or the 7000 series, I believe, maybe the 6000 series as well, but I do think that is going to be tied to like those. Well, maybe it will work. No, I think it was said that this is 7000 series. I'm not gonna. I've been sitting here stewing in this all day long. I don't really have the willpower to check up the facts or whatever. How they say we got to have the facts, man. No, man. I'm a consumer. I'm not out here trying to sell you graphics cards. I'm a consumer, just like you. And when I get excited about a product. And this is the way I've always handled this channel. I get excited about a product. I've kind of, as I've gotten into PC gaming, guys, like this is going to be this might be a little bit longer video, but as I've gotten into PC gaming, my friends, I've learned a lot of things, okay? I've learned that fanboys on either platform are absolutely not worth listening to. You need to go with your gut. When it comes to like PC gaming and stuff, like you have to go with your gut, man. My gut told me get an AMD card. My gut was telling me get off this Nvidia wheel. You're never gonna be happy. You're always gonna be depressed. You're always gonna be looking for the next best thing. Get off this hamster wheel. My gut told me to do that, and I did. and I got off it, and I bought the 7900 XT. Like, I feel absolutely comfortable with this card. I feel pretty good about it. Like, this is day 53 since I've switched from Nvidia to AMD, and I'm happy now. Like, I'm happy now. I can't even tell you, man. Like, I just played Armored Core 6 yesterday. Okay, when I played Elden Ring the very first time on my Nvidia, what was it, 3060 Ti, that was before I did anything to that PC, so you can't try to blame like the memory thing or any of that. This was before any pre-order, before any upgrades or anything on that. That was that stock freaking PC right out of the box. That thing stuttered like crazy. It was, I mean, yeah, it was not a stable experience at all from day one. And that was day one. Like, I got that game day one on that PC. So that was the experience that I had with a From Software game on that brand new freaking 3060 Ti graphics card that more than should have had enough power to be able to run Elden Ring at 4K or whatever. But I was trying to run that at like 1440p. 1440p, man, and it couldn't even run, and it was struggling with that. So, fast forward to yesterday when I get Armored Core 6, another From Software game. This time it is like you've got 120 FPS support, no freaking stuttering at all. It just ran smooth. And when Elden Ring came out, like, the 3080 should have blown the doors, or a 3060 Ti was a pretty dang good card when Elden Ring freaking came out. I mean, that game is still, a cross-gen game, just like a Armored Core 6, and that game, that card was struggling with that. That was struggling. But now all of a sudden, From Software is just like the best developer ever. Like, you always hear about From Software games always being stuttery when they come out. I don't have bad frame pacing on it. I put up a video. I put up the immediate first video after me getting that card, loading into it from it just finishing updating and downloading from Steam, and I did my benchmark on there. I was almost 120 FPS locked all the way across. Like, it just ran smooth, no problems. It felt incredible playing that game. I jumped in on the OLED, started playing it some more. Absolutely smooth, incredible experience. Now, and that's been pretty much the story with every game I've played on that this AMD graphics card. I haven't ran into the stutter issues that I got pretty often with that Nvidia graphics card. Trust me, I am bitter with Nvidia. I am bitter. I feel like it was a complete waste of money. I feel like it was a complete waste of time. Most of the time, I mean, I was happy, Dude, I got so many emotions when it comes to Nvidia. Every time I hear the word Nvidia now, I just kind of cringe. Like, I'm like, really, man? That doesn't sound like a good experience to me. And if you're anybody sitting there with a 3080 10 gig and under, like, you're not having a good day, man. Like, you're not really in the happiest of spirits out there trying to play these new games, man. Like, you're not. You're already, down to 1080p at 30 frames a second on something like Immortals of Avian, or however you say that. Like, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. So let's get back over into here. Let's stop with the little nonsense or whatever. Let's get over here into the features. I want to talk about FSR 3. Now, I did read an article from Digital Foundry. They are at the Gamescom, and they have actually had their eyes on seeing FSR 3 running on games like Forspoken, and like that's pretty cool, man. Like, you guys all know, if you've been here for a while, Forspoken is probably one of my favorite games this year. I will definitely be covering this on with frame gen and stuff. I'll run a video at 4K, see what the performance is, and then boom, turn on the frame gen and see how that looks and feels. And I'm gonna bring you honest content, man, because like one of the biggest things, and you can go back through this whole channel and you can look at a lot of my content. Like, I do focus a lot on visuals. I do. Like, visuals are important to me. They've always been important to me, and they always come up. And if there's something off about frame gen and FSR 3, like, I'm going to tell you about it. But when I look at a game running FSR 2 quality, I feel generally pretty good about the overall image quality of that. Now, you can definitely see stuff in the distance but it is not distracting like checkerboard rendering was. If you drop FSR down to like performance or ultra performance, then yeah, you can definitely see that shimmering, that checkerboard looking look that comes along with that kind of just makes things look a little bit fuzzier. Yeah, you can definitely see that. But in terms of FSR2 quality, man, you have to be a very picky, nitpicky person to sit there and like point out a lot of that stuff. Because when you're in the thick of things and you're playing a game, yeah, I don't necessarily... Same thing with DLSS. When you're playing it and DLSS is on, like, you don't notice any of that because both of these technologies get rid of the shimmering. They both get rid of, the anti-aliasing. All of these things that I mean, essentially you should probably just look at DLSS and FSR as like FXAA or one of them other things. Just look at it like that and you'll probably be okay. It does do its job. It does upscale pretty well. That's the way I'm looking at it going forward. Is it's just another form of image stability, to make the image quality look better, and it works and it does a good job. My problem with Nvidia is I feel like they overcharge for that. They're overcharging you for that. Like, it is magic. It doesn't cost them a ton of money to train an AI bot to go ahead and figure out how to make their stuff better. I mean, I get that there's a lot of work that goes into it, but I think they overcharge for it and they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. Instead of building a product that their customers will be happy with, they build products that their customers are going to feel like, oh man, I got to upgrade. Oh man, I got to upgrade. And I get that there already are people out there like that. They're the 2% that go out and buy the newest card every generation day one. Those guys are never going to change. That's exactly who they want to be. That's more power to them. Handle that. But for everybody else in the space of PC gaming, there are... I don't think that you should go out and buy like a 3080 10 gig and then 2 years later have to feel like, oh man, I don't feel like you should have to feel like that. And that's the way I felt. I felt used. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I felt used by Nvidia. I made free content for their card. I would, when it made me happy, I was pretty happy and stuff. And in the beginning, and I made content for them, free content that convinced other people to buy that product. And now here I am making, content for AMD as well, free content for both of these companies. And neither one of them know I exist, and neither one of them even care about me. But as a consumer, and as myself, and as somebody that buys these products and obviously depends on these products to be able to do the thing I love the most, I have to find, the options that are going to make me happy. And most of the time I find that when a company supports their products, like I've said before, when a company supports their products like AMD does, when they go back and they support older generations of their cards and of their tech, and they try to keep things moving forward and things get better over time, I greatly appreciate that. And today's announcement for all of these features and still being backward compatible and working on the competitors' cards, that to me shows confidence in AMD being like, yeah, dude, we're confident in our products. We're confident enough to let you try it over there. Like, we don't care, man. Like, somebody gets over there on their Nvidia card, it's like, yeah, dude, try it. Try FSR on your Nvidia card. See if it's something that you can live with. I tried it a few times on the Nvidia card. It didn't look too bad. So that's what I'm saying. Like, try it. Try it on your Nvidia card. See if you can live with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big of a deal. But, and try it, with ray tracing or whatever. I mean, I watched a few other videos from other content creators, coming out and talking about the AMD stuff. And it's like they automatically always turn to, well, yeah, I mean, if you could trust their driver support and this and that, and these are a good deal and blah. And it's always like they go out of their way to spread negative, false nonsense about AMD before trying to prop up Nvidia, while also telling you that, like, yeah, man, these cards are a good deal and you should probably buy one. But I'm such an Nvidia fanboy that I can't 100% just recommend that. So we're going to look at the prices and we're going to try to find a way to ridicule AMD for the price of these cards. If you go out and you buy a 7800 XT right now for $499, you get a $100 copy of Starfield for free. You are essentially getting $100, like you're getting the card for $400, and it will 100% run that game at 1440p at 60 frames a second with all of the things turned up, and you'll have a great experience. Because if you're buying that card, you're probably buying that card for 1440p. And you will get that experience. And you will have 16 gigs of VRAM to back that experience through this generation. That's the thing. I trust AMD to sell me a product that is going to be worth that purchase. I have strong trust issues with Nvidia now. 2 graphics cards I bought, and I was like, wow, man, this is not going to deliver the experience that I thought it was going to. I couldn't even run on, what was it, the 3060 Ti. I guess you could say that card is an 8 or a 1080p card. I mean, obviously, I don't think any of them are. I think all of them are 1080p cards now, but I mean the delusion and the like, oh man, no, you can use DLSS and you can do this and you can do that. Like, you get so caught up in the moment of all of that bickering nonsense that you're like, oh yeah, this is great. But then when it falls short, when it doesn't work anymore, you're like, oh man. Like, you had this experience because you were trying to put yourself in a different experience. I started noticing immediately when that 3080 10 gig started struggling at 1440p, I was like, no, this sucks. I do not like the way I feel right now. I do not like where I'm at. And I bought AMD. And now that I'm able to run all these new games as they come out, I'm like, yeah, dude, that's good. That's good. I'm well over 60 frames a second. If I'm struggling, I can flick on FSR2. It'll hold that at 4K, mind you. At 4K, I bought this card as a 1440p card because I have trust issues now with PC stuff. So I bought the AMD card, the 7900 XT, with the thoughts of running it at 1440p. And then when I can run everything at 4K, and then I can flick on FSR2 and hold it at 4K at good frame rates, that's good. That's really good for me. That's really good that I'm able to do that. Like, I'm happy with that. I bought it for 1440p, but I get to enjoy 4K. I bought it for 1440p, but I can still enjoy 4K. When I was sitting here playing around with freaking Armored Core 6 at 4K at 120 frames a second, I was like, yeah, that's cool. I like that. I appreciate that. And now they're going to unlock all of their other features. You know, you're going to get your HyperRX, which is going to be pretty cool. It's going to lock all that stuff together, you get anti-lag and everything. We will test FSR3. I'm not going to fanboy for frame generation. Like, I'm not going to. If it comes out and it does enhance and make the experience better, then we'll talk about it. If it adds to the overall, you know, and I'll only use this on 4K. I'm not going to try to use frame generation on 1440p. But if it does enhance the experience at 4K, because I think that's all that this upscaling, you know, really should be used for, is if you're buying a high-end card and you're trying to use it for 4K. If it enhances that experience and it gives you a good frame rate and it feels good, yeah, dude, we'll definitely talk about it being a good piece of software. But if it comes out and it's not that great and it takes away or doesn't make the experience better, yeah, dude, we're not going to fanboy over it. We're not going to sit and fanboy over it. I'm not going to fanboy over DLSS. I'm not going to fanboy over FSR2. FSR2 has worked. I don't think it gets slandered a lot. I think everything about AMD gets slandered a lot, and I don't like that. I really don't like that, because as somebody like me or all these other people out there, these very impressionable people that are out there thinking, I mean, I could just get an Nvidia card and it'll just be the best, and dude, you guys are spending so much money on Nvidia cards and barely eking out a win over the stuff that AMD's putting out. That AMD stuff's going to last you longer. You guys, look at this. You run on down to the store and you're like, oh yeah, well, the 4070 Ti with DLSS and frame generation will beat the 6800 XT. I'm going to get that 4070 Ti. The other card's got 16 gigs of RAM. One day, DLSS and frame gen's not going to win. You know what I mean? It's not going to push it over the top. You're going to be in that, oh man, if I only had a little bit more VRAM, oh man, I should have went with the 6800 XT because it was just a little bit slower, or just a little bit this, or just a little bit that. And the whole time, like, you're running these things with DLSS, or you're running these things with frame generation. And it just feels so nonsensical. It just seems so nonsensical to me that people, that like, I don't know, man. Like I said, extreme fanboys on both sides will definitely have people wasting their money. And it sucks, man. And it sucks. It really does suck. I don't want to see anybody waste any money. So I want you to weigh your options very, very well on this. Like when you watch this content, like I'm happy with my 7900 XT. If the 4080 and the 7900 XT were the same price, if they were exactly the same price, knowing what I know right now, if they were the same price, I would probably still go with the AMD card, just to be completely honest with you. I mean, like, I get that the 4080 might be able to do a little bit faster. I get that, you know, there's things, you know, like ray tracing, all of that stuff. I think I would still end up going with the 7900 XT over the 4080, and that's knowing what I know now. That's knowing what I know now. Had it been the same price when I bought this, I probably would have just bought the 4080, because that's where I was at. Like, I had to upgrade, so I probably would have just bought the 4080 and stuck with Nvidia because that was all I know. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful I got this opportunity to buy AMD. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not even lying to you, if I was sitting at Best Buy right now and I saw a 4080 and the 7900 XT, and they were at the exact same price, I would still pick the AMD card over the Nvidia card, because I would easily pick the AMD card. The software is better in my opinion, like the color reproduction, being able to find that easier. I just kind of feel like I would feel like I don't know, like that whole feeling you get when you buy like the best or whatever, like your head gets bigger or whatever. That ship is come and sailed with Nvidia. It is come and sailed with Nvidia for real. Like I will not buy another Nvidia product unless I absolutely have to. Like if I absolutely have to, then maybe I would. Or if say it's time for me to upgrade, my games don't play anymore, and the AMD experience is just super subpar, like they only came out with like a 5500 the whole generation, and Nvidia had like a 90 series, I would probably buy the 90 series if I absolutely had to buy a new GPU. That's pretty much where I sit right now with Nvidia. That's how I feel about them. I don't like the way I don't like the way I feel as a customer, I don't like it. I don't like the way Nvidia made me feel with their products, and then not standing behind them. Like AMD is giving frame generation to all of their cards and their competitors. Nvidia locked it to their 40 series card. If AMD can make frame generation work on Nvidia 30 series cards, I'm pretty sure Nvidia could have done it for themselves. That's all you need to take away from this. That's all you need to take away from this. They baked in, obsolescence into that 30 series cards. Then they doubled the price on the 40 series cards, put in a little bit of magic, and told you, oh yeah, it's not possible over there. And then AMD comes out and they're like, oh yeah, it's possible, man. Look, it works. See? That right there should tell you everything you need to know about Nvidia. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Sorry about the rant today, man. Like I sit at work, guys, and like these thoughts go through my head all day. I'm a mechanic. I'm fixing things. I can't sit and write down things all day long. Like I can't do that. So every little thought that goes through my head, I try to have to keep. And then when I get home, like I can't just sit and write things out. Like I'm too ADD to do that. So I hope that like you guys enjoy these videos. And I am very sorry. And I am very new to the PC thing. So yeah, man, we're just trying to turn things on its head. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.